I found this lamp at the thrift store. I want to tape off the end of the cord that's nearest the lamp. Just give them a light sanding. I've chosen a beautiful neutral brown. I'm going to go to work on the base and post. I want to cover the dark paint now with this lighter cream color. It's time to create that faux grass cloth look on the shade. I want to do this to the entire shade, highlight all of those beautiful lines. I can't believe this is the same thrift store lamp.
Let's apply some cute flower decals to this plain glass pitcher. I used a weeder tool to remove the excess vinyl and then placed some transfer tape on top of it. I smoothed the transfer tape down with a scraper tool. I placed the design with the transfer tape down onto the pitcher. Repeated this process over and over again until the glass pitcher was filled with pretty flowers and greenery.
First, we're going to repurpose a 1-gallon glass pickle jar. And then we have some decorative nautical rope. I'm measuring out vertical strips. I'm going to end up cutting 8 of these. I'm going to start using my glue gun to attach them on the side of the jar. And all I'm doing is I'm evenly spacing these out, and then I'll do that, continue on until all 8 are glued on. We're going to measure around the jar. We're going to need 2 long strips there and then glue 1 around the bottom. Put in some sand from the dollar store and a flameless LED candle. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together.
We're going to start by using a hot glue gun to glue these forms together. After we have them all glued, I got a piece of cardboard, traced one of the circles, and I'm going to cut just inside the line that I drew. And you're going to get your hot glue again. You'll just want to decide what color you're going to want to paint your form. And again, you could leave this just as is if you like something a little more simple. I like simple sometimes, but today I'm just going to take it up a couple notches with some color, and I'm just going to draw some shapes on here. So what I'm doing is putting a filler piece in the bottom and just popping that guy right on top. And we have our DIY flower pots all set up in my daughter's room. I think they turned out super cute and they match her room so well.
Using an X-Acto knife, I just cut off the top portion. Next, I'm going to take some craft paper. I'm scrunching it up. Then I'm also going to use extra masking tape. So I'm just going to wrap the whole thing in this craft paper and just cut out my handle. So I'm just going to rip the envelopes up into tiny little pieces and stick them into my blender. We're going to be using some Mod Podge, and I just spread it around onto my plastic container. And this is my finished vase here.
So I'm going to start this project with a empty marinara jar and putting the food coloring into the Mod Podge. I'm essentially mixing it all together to turn it into kind of a murky brownish green color. I'm getting out a cookie sheet and some newspaper. I'm pouring the mixture, the Mod Podge mixture, into the jar, and I'm spinning the jar, let the excess drain out. We're going to take all of our bottles and we're going to bake these. And as you can see, each of them kind of has a different tint. It's beginner friendly, faux vintage decor on a budget.
On one of my most recent trips to Dollar Tree, I came across these glass bowls, and as well I spotted these cool margarita glasses. I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to spread it around on the bottom of the margarita glass. And then I'm also going to apply some E6000 on the bottom of one of the glass bowls. Then I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to leave this to set. In the meantime, I'm going to take my second glass bowl and I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to take an old drawer pull and then place that on top. And then I'm going to let this set as well for 24 hours. So this DIY is super easy. Honestly, anyone can do this.
I have the storage container, giving the container a quick sanding. I always dust my molds with cornstarch. I'm just going to keep adding clay, remove the excess clay, release the clay, and I'm going to lay them all out. I'm using some tacky glue to stick them in place. It's time to paint them. Give the container a beautiful faux stone look. I think this box and the texture are so fun.
Go to your local dollar store and grab a few glass candle holders. Take off any stickers that are on these jars, and go and wash the jars. Take your lids outside and spray paint them. Let these dry and move on to the glass candle holders. Mix up some 5-minute epoxy, dip your knob into it and center it onto the painted lid. Move on to the candle holders, dip it and center it on the jar. Now let's place these in the bathroom. You can really put anything into these that you want to, some Q-tips, smaller hair ties, and also cotton rounds. These apothecary jars will help you organize your bathroom items and look really cool.
This plastic dollar store planter needs a makeover. Now that the paint is quite thick, a quick sanding with a sanding block, I want to cover the entire planter except the bottom. I want to brush on some dark gray paint. I want to add a little white. Finally, I want to seal the planter with a clear coat. It's time to fill my planter with potting soil and add a beautiful plant.
So I've got my vase and I'm dropping little spots onto the vase. So then I'm taking some cling wrap and laying that over the top, and I begin to smush the colours together. Lift the cling wrap and plop it down on another part of the vase. And so I keep going around the whole vase. I haven't added any more paint, and lay it on half of the vase and then very carefully peel it back. And you'll see that you have this really lovely kind of veining effect. And here is my finished vase. Doesn't it look great?
You are going to want to grab one of these plastic bowls. So I'm going to mix up some dark orange paint with a little bit of white. I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda. Now I'm just adding a light coat to the entire outside of the bowl. So I'm going to just grab some flour and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit onto the wet paint. Rub it in a little bit. Cut up some floral foam and put that into the bottom. I'm going to use some succulents that I picked up at Dollar Tree and just stick them in this bowl. I love how this turned out, and it is such an easy painting technique.
You're not going to believe what I do with this vegetable oil. I added ready mix, concrete mix, peat moss, perlite, and water together and mixed well to create a thick concrete mixture. Next, I oiled the inside of a 20-liter bucket using the vegetable oil, and I carefully packed the concrete into the bucket on the bottom and then worked my way up the sides. After it dried for 24 hours, I flipped the bucket upside down to take it out, and I used a small wire brush and remove any loose dirt and dust around the sides and bottom. Brown, antique white, and gray acrylic paint and blended with a bit of water. And now I have a modern pot that looks like a limestone planter for a fraction of the price.
I'm going to grab this trash can, take the top off. Now I'm going to use a really strong adhesive. I'm going to put it all over the back of the stair tread and then wrap it around the trash can. I want to make this look a little bit antique, so I am using a silver rub and buff. And I'm going to put a little on the bottom of the can too. I'm going to put some drainage holes in this and place it in the top of the trash can. And now I can fill the top with soil and plants. This is an inexpensive way to use an old trash can.
I grabbed a corrugated cardboard box and a tin can. I cut the cardboard about a 1/4 inch taller than the tin can. I wet a tea towel and pressed it onto the top of the cardboard to make it damp so I could pull the top layer off, and painted the top 1/2 inch and top edge and painted the whole corrugated surface in antique white. I used a sponge to add black and blended it all together using my paintbrush. Spray painted some silver for a metallic touch. I wrapped it around the tin can, hot glued it together, and now I have a knockoff galvanized zinc vase.
You'll need a laundry basket. Start at one end and wrap the rope around the basket, gluing as you go. Continue until you have the entire basket covered with the rope. I'm brushing on a wood stain. Find dead center of your tabletop. Find a picture or design you want for your tabletop. Cut away any extra white paper that doesn't have toner on it. Generously apply and brush the photo transfer medium onto the printed side of the paper. I'm adding some transfer medium to the tabletop as well. Carefully place your design face down. Spritz plain water onto the paper. Carefully rub the surface in a circular motion. The paper will start to flake off. Continue rubbing and spritzing until all of the paper is gone. Seal and protect your design with a spray clear coat. Add a couple of handles. The side table is perfect for storing away throws you want to keep nearby.
2 blue buckets that I found at Dollar Tree, cutting the handles off, glue them together. I'm stacking my other bowl on top of it. We're gonna take our pool noodles and we're gonna start cutting them in half, putting enough glue and then holding the pool noodle in place to form the shape. I'm taking caulk, adding it to the indentations between my pool noodles, but I'm just gonna be painting this entire thing white. Stone spray paint, and we are going to spray it. And here is the finished product.